Hello FPL managers, yes, we are back again with another video for the Fantasy Premier League 2021-22 season. You see the title, you see the thumbnail. Yes, this is going to be our updated Game Week 1 draft. I promised you guys I was going to drop that on the weekend, and here it is. It looks like I did a total overhaul because I thought I was going to be doing just a couple of changes, but by the looks of it, it seems to have an entirely new team, an entirely new formation. And also, I'm going to be rating some of your drafts. I told you guys to send me your drafts on Twitter, and some of you did. So I'm just going to pick a bunch of them, some of them that I'm interested in commenting on, and just give my thoughts, nothing major. And also, I'm hearing that Jadon Sancho has finally been announced by Manchester United. Hopefully we get an FPL prize for him. So just a word on that as well. If you guys are new to the channel, we drop FPL content once every week at least, and we intend to do this until the season begins. So if you're interested in this, let's get straight into business. So this is exactly how our initial draft looked like. We had Sanchez and Guaita in goal. We had Lowton, Digne, Shaw, Williams, and Cresswell in defense. We had Brownhill, Mount, Rafinha, Mane, and Salah in midfield. And we had Watkins, Richarlison, and Antonio as our forwards. So first off, I had to make a couple of changes because I'm not comfortable with having Mane and Salah in my attack. Probably because of Jota. And initially I switched from Mane to Jota, and then the question of who exactly is going to start became an issue between either Jota or Firmino, and you know how that is going to go exactly, because initially we thought Firmino was going to the Olympics, but turns out that it's going to be Richarlison, and which is exactly why we need to take him out of our team as well. So at the end of the day, I changed my mind and decided to go with a double up of Liverpool defense. So before we get to that, let's see how it looks right now. So at the back, I have Sanchez and Guaita in the initial draft, but right now I have Sanchez and Backman of Watford. So while making changes, I initially switched to Steele, the backup goalkeeper for Brighton. So that kind of covered up if there are any issues with Sanchez, I can easily just get in the backup goalie for Brighton, and he's 4.0 million, so he kind of saved me 0.5 million. But that was at the time before Brighton brought in a new goalie, which has kind of changed our plans completely. So we brought in a starting 4.5 million backup goalie. It could be anybody really, but I'm going for Backman in this case because he had 23 appearances last season, made saves at the rate of 1.6 every 90 minutes, save percentage of 74%, which is quite impressive. So that means every 10 shots he faced, he was saving almost 7.5 of them. So that's quite good. That kind of explains why Watford's defense was quite strong last season in the Championship, but you know, it's the Premier League, and it really doesn't work like that, but we hope that it does. So he's going to be on our bench for now. He just considered 13 goals in total, goals considered per 90, 0.6. So 13 clean sheets for him while he played. Foster is another goalie for Watford who had a lot of games, but from the noises we're hearing from Watford fans, it seems Backman is going to be starting. So as for our defense, as you can see, we've gone with a double up of Liverpool defenders in Alexander Arnold and Robertson, the two most expensive ones at that. They're both on set pieces, and they're both quite attacking. Robertson last season had a goal and 8 FPL assists. He created 11 big chances. Total chances created 66. He had a 24.6% goal involvement. and took 19 shots and 12 clean sheets. So he's a really good one, and I'm doubling up on them because they are really good fixtures, and I expect them for at least the very first 6 games they're gonna be very comfortable. So Robertson's in, Trent is in, Cresswell is the only one who kept his place in the entire defense, and we've switched from Lowton to Lamptey because Lamptey is a bit more attacking than Lowton. He scored 1 goal and 3 assists in just 11 appearances, created 2 big chances, 10 chances created on the whole, and a 41.7% goal involvement. So that's really impressive, and he kind of edged Lowton out of the team. As for our 4.0 midfielder, we've switched to Duffy because I think that since Ben White is moving to Arsenal, there might be an empty spot on that right centre back position, and Duffy was a starter before White came in, and if White is gone and Brighton don't get in a new centre back, then Duffy can easily just come back into the team. Okay, he was on loan at Celtic last season, so it's not like he was on the bench all season and all that. So I brought in Duffy just in case he becomes a guaranteed starter. All well and good, but I'm not really planning to play him per se. But there's a chance that his value could increase once FPL managers notice that he's a starter. If he is a starter, we gain funds, but if he's not, then I guess he doesn't. His value doesn't decrease because nobody's gonna get him in anyway. Okay, but if he becomes a starter, then that really helps us in future. Okay, so I'm changing to Duffy, and he's going to be on our bench. He's going to be our third sub, so he's probably not even going to get into the team anyway. Okay, so that's our defense for now. In midfield, there's been less of an overhaul in midfield for us. We had Brownhill, Mount, Rafinha, Mane, and Salah, and the only ones who kept their place were Salah and Brownhill. Okay, so Mount, Rafinha, and Mane have been replaced by Maddison, Fernandes, and Romeo. Okay, so that's 2 4.5 million pounds midfielders, meaning that they are going to be on the bench. So we're going with 3 in midfield and 4 at the back. So it's going to end up being a 4-3-3. I've gone for Fernandes because he had clearly the better stats than Mane last season. He had 18 goals, 14 assists, created 20 big chances. Goal involvement was 64.7%. That's very high. He took 51 shots on target and a total of 121 shots on goal. That's very impressive. As for Maddison, I've brought him in instead of a Mount because he saves me 0.5 million, and I'm trying to make up for the money I've invested in my defense by kind of reducing the amount of money I have in my midfield. So I've gone for Maddison because he scored 8 goals and 7 assists last season, created 6 big chances, 51 chances created in total, 23 shots on target, 75 shots in total, and he had a goal involvement of 50%. So he's quite good. He's like the creative hub of Leicester City, but there are rumors that he might be moving this season, and if he does move, then we'd have to rethink this particular position on our team. But for now, if he remains at Leicester, then he's definitely going to remain in our teams. Okay, so we've gone for Maddison, and Romeo kind of explains himself. He's just fodder for the midfield. He goes straight into our bench. As for our strike force, we really didn't need to take money away from the strike force because that was done in midfield, but we had to switch a little bit simply because of the fixtures. Since we were downgrading from Digne to Duffy, then we had to replace that Everton asset by getting in someone like DCL. We're also losing Richarlison, so Tony comes in. Okay, so Watkins, he scored 14 goals last season, 9 FPL assists. Expected goals was 16.28, expected assists of 5.31. He had shots on target of 45, which is quite high. Almost 100 shots in total he took the entire season, and just missed about 13 big chances. His start to the season is quite good. Aston Villa have three very, very, very good fixtures to begin the season, and then their fixtures switch to becoming very difficult. But before that happens, we would planned out how to get him out. Probably switch to Kelechi if he has, if we find out he's a guaranteed starter for Leicester, or probably someone like Ings if we can upgrade. As for DCL, he scored 16 goals last season, 6 assists, 18.21 expected goals, 2.10 expected assists, shot accuracy of 63.9%, which is quite good. He just mixed 17 big chances. So, for Ivan Toney, I usually don't like going for players who just got recently promoted, and because I'm going with a 4-3-3, I absolutely have to start Toney. We can't put him on the bench because that means we would have to play someone like Brownhill or play 5 at the back with Duffy. So I absolutely have to play Toney, and since Richarlison is going to the Olympics, then getting in someone who plays at all is already an up. But Tony's on penalties, which makes it a little bit easier to do, and also he just scored a goal in the recent preseason game, so he probably could be starting the season strong. So he's going straight into the team. I could have gone with someone like Welbeck, but I'm hearing rumors that Brighton might be going for Brett White of Barcelona, or someone like Hudson Edward, probably trying to spend that Ben White money. So there are question marks on who might be starting for Brighton next season. But at the moment, I've left it on Ivan Toney. If I need to switch, I can easily just downgrade to Welbeck or someone of that nature. Or Timo Pukki, I think he just scored a goal in the recent preseason game against Huddersfield. So yeah, this is the team. This is how it looks right now. We switched from our first draft to this. There might be changes depending on what news comes up as we get closer and closer to the season. But speaking of recent developments, I'm hearing Jadon Sancho has been announced by Manchester United. A really good signing there. I think about 90 million euros. So they spent a lot. I don't think FPL have announced a price for him just yet. If they have, I'll have to check. But at the moment, there's no price for him, and he's a really good player. Some of you might want to get him into your teams. I myself, I'll have to wait. I don't think I'll be able to afford him as things stand, except I'm going to have to change one of my premium midfielders to Sancho. Last season, he scored about 8 goals and made 11 assists in just 24 starts, which is quite impressive. Made 17 shots on target and a total of 52 shots. He created 67 chances from the wings, threw in about 105 crosses. That's a lot of crosses in 24 starts. Made 14 big chances created, and that's quite good. Made 2.7 key passes per game, and some of you might be thinking, yes, this is a very good player. He's very attacking, and he's going to be having very high GA numbers. But a word of caution: you guys might have to temper your expectations a little bit. We've seen this happen before, where players switch from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, and they don't exactly hit the same heights as they used to. I mean, if you look at someone like Kai Havertz or Timo Werner from last season, they came in with a very high reputation, but at this very moment, you can't say that it got higher. Your reputation is just about the same or even lower in the case of Timo Werner. So if you look at Jadon Sancho, you might think he might be different. He's English, and he might find it more comfortable playing in England. Yes, that's a good point, but like we said, he's a very young player. He's just 21 years of age. He may not adjust as quickly as most people think. I mean, look at the players who have moved. Look like a key passes, for instance. You see someone like Kai Havertz, who was making 2 key passes a game in the Bundesliga. The last season, he he played before moving to the Premier League. He was making two key passes per game. He comes to the Premier League and he only makes 0.7 key passes per game. So that's a huge drop. You look at Timo Werner, he was making 1.6 key passes per game in the Bundesliga. He comes to the Premier League, he only makes 1 per game. Okay, the only other player you could think of is probably a Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who moved from Dortmund to Arsenal, and he's the only one who you might say, okay, maybe he didn't drop in reputation from the German league. Okay, he was making 1 key pass per game for Dortmund the season before he moved to Arsenal. Played about 16 games, moved in January, and made 1.1 key pass per game. So his key passes increased, but the next season he was making 0.9, so it reduced. Okay, so you might think Jadon Sancho might come in and hit the ground running, but temper your expectations a little bit and be cautious. Okay, so as for you guys who sent me your drafts on Twitter, I'm just gonna go through a few of them. This particular one, the first one here, he has Bachmann in goal, Robertson, Lamptey, Digne, and Shaw in defense. I think that's a good combination. It's just Bachmann is not someone you would want to start with. Even though I have him on my bench, I wouldn't start him because there's a backup goalkeeper at Watford who we're not entirely sure wouldn't start the game. Okay, so if you have Bachmann in your team, I would personally advise you to put him on the bench, or you could transfer him later on when you are 100% sure that he's a starter. I know the Watford fans tell us that he's going to be, but let's hold off and see if Foster is definitely the backup guy. Okay. Also in midfield you have Sarr, Salah, Grealish, and Fernandes. And in attack you have Kelechi and Watkins. I think this is kind of odd because you have Kelechi who isn't a guaranteed starter for Leicester. We don't know that yet. They just brought in Patson Daka, and we still have Vardy. So we don't know if they're going with 3 up front, or if somebody's going to drop. I mean, somebody has to drop. It could be Daka, or it could be Kelechi, because Kelechi only really hit form in the second half of the season. So probably Brendan Rodgers is looking at that and thinking maybe it's just a fluke, or he could just play in his new signing in Daka alongside Vardy, or he could just drop Vardy because Kelechi was in such a good form. He was basically carrying Leicester on his back that second half of last season. So I'm not so sure about Kelechi. That's probably why I don't have him in my team. But if he is a guaranteed starter, then he absolutely is a very good pick. Okay, and what else? I think that's good. You have Grealish and Watkins going up against Bachmann. That's another thing that I really don't like to do, especially it's game week 1. You can definitely find better goalies if you absolutely have to play Grealish and Watkins, and you also have Sarr in there. I think I like that pick. Sarr might be taking penalties for Watford. So even in my team, I'm thinking probably if Sarr hits good form and probably Maddison gets transferred to Arsenal, I could easily downgrade Maddison to Sarr. So Sarr is someone I had on my sites, and I think I like this pick on this team. On your bench you have Foster, you have Harrison, Williams, and Obafemi of Southampton. So Foster is a good backup, just in case he starts the Watford game in game week 1. He can easily just come in for Bachmann. Harrison, it's good you kept him on the bench because I can see you have Shaw in defense. Okay, so if it could have been nice if you had someone else other than a Watford goalie going up against your Aston Villa attackers, but it's all well and good. Yeah, I think I like this team. This team is okay. It's okay, except for the players going up against each other. I wouldn't do that if I were you. But aside that, it's okay. Hopefully, Kelechi is a starter and you'll be good. So this person's gone with a 3-4-3 formation, he's got Sanchez in goal, Digne, Target, and Kufal in defense, Salah, Fernandez, Grealish, and Rafinha in midfield, Cavani, Calvert-Lewin, and Abraham in attack. That's a strange one. I wouldn't go with Abraham. I don't know the story behind that. Maybe you're thinking he's going to get transferred out of Chelsea, and he would start for his new club. Maybe that's what you're thinking about. And only other thing that I can see is Grealish also might get transferred, but for now he's at Aston Villa, so I don't think that's a huge issue. Cavani is a weird one because he may start from Manchester United, but the way he was used last season, yeah, he was on the bench a lot. And with Greenwood, I think Greenwood is a definite starter because of Rashford's injury. He may even be starting at centre forward, but maybe because of Martial's injury, Cavani would be guaranteed a start. So I don't know about Manchester United much. So you guys can let me know in the comment section if this setup is cool. I think it's okay. He has Shaw on the bench because he intends to play Rafinha. So I think that's a thumbs up because he doesn't want them facing each other. Yeah, I like this team. I think of all the teams I've seen, this one seems to be one that I wouldn't mind going with. The only thing is he's just got Salah being the only Liverpool asset he has, and if he could get in one Liverpool defender, that would be cool. That would be okay. Okay, so yeah, this team is okay. Up on to the next one. We have a 4-3-3 formation with Sanchez in goal, Digne, Kufal, Fofana, and Shaw in defense, Fernandez, Bissouma, and Salah in midfield. We have DCL, Watkins, and Richarlison in attack. Richarlison is going for the Olympics, so you may want to switch him to someone else. I made this mistake in my first draft, so it's no big deal. Bissouma, he's another defensive midfielder. I wouldn't have him in my team. Probably the reason you've had to do this is because you spent so much on Meslier, who's on your bench as a backup goalie. So probably you may want to bring in those funds into your starting 11. Leave Meslier as a 4.5 million goalie if you want a starting goalie in your bench, and put that money on Bissouma. Probably upgrade him to a 5.5 million midfielder. There are a lot of those. You could go for Emil Smith-Rowe. You could go for Cantwell, or promoted players like Mbeumo from Brentford, or Canos. Players like that. They're attacking. They're playing closer to goal. Even though they're cheap, it gives you better chances of getting in FPL points than a defensive midfielder, even though Bissouma is a good player. Okay, so I think that's it. That's our video for today. I hope you guys are keeping an eye on the preseason games. I'm doing that myself. Players like Brownhill have impressed with 2 goals in their last game for Burnley. Also Ivan Toney, who else? Pookie has also scored a goal for his team in preseason. So all this information would be useful to you in case you need to bring in players who are on form. So keep an eye on those preseason games. It will help you know players who are starting for their teams, players who are ready for game week 1. Stuff like that really helps. So I advise you do that as well. Our next video is going to be dropping later on next week. If you guys are new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell. You don't want to miss any FPL content from us. We really appreciate it. So that's it. Cheers, have fun, and I'll catch you on the next one.